Hey guys, welcome to another video. If this is your first time here, my name is Craig, and in this video I'm going to be talking about my time before Oman, how I ended up here, what happened during my almost 6 years here, and why I'm leaving, and then what I'm going to be doing after Oman. So this video is possibly going to be quite long. I apologise for that now. So why don't you pause it, get yourself a cup of tea and sit back and relax. So before I came here to Oman, I was actually working and living in Malaysia. And I first went there in 2011. And I met my wife there, well, future wife. She was working in KL in one of the bar restaurants that I frequented. So after some time, she moved in with me, and in 2014, our son was born in the Philippines. So she went back to the Philippines when she was pregnant, and we rented a place in Manila for 1 year. After Kian turned about 5 months, they came back to Malaysia, and we got married in 2015. And between sort of 2014 and 2018, we quickly realised that Kian was autistic. Now, it took some time for us to realise that, because when he first came over to KL, obviously he had spent all of his time with my wife in the Philippines, and he was about 5 months old. He was actually talking at 5 months. You know, he could say mama, and then after a period of time, he stopped talking, he stopped trying different foods. It was hard, really difficult time. But in 2018, Kian was 4 at the time, so he was approaching school age. And my wife and I had a discussion about the future, and we sort of came to an agreement that they would go back to the Philippines because he has all his cousins in the Philippines. So rather than him sitting at home, you know, when he's not at preschool in KL, we decided that it was best if they went back to the Philippines. So the plan was I was just going to stay in Malaysia. Now, when I first went in 2011, I was on a good deal financially. But between 2011 and 2018, a couple of things happened. The oil price dropped. The company was struggling for work, and I took a couple of pay cuts. So my salary was reduced. I think it was twice. It wasn't 3 times. And then the second time it was cut, it was actually instigated by me, because I could see they had no work, but I didn't want to leave. So they agreed to keep me on a local deal, but they still gave me an allowance for my our apartment, which was good. So that's what happened. And then it was agreed that my wife and son would go back in March 2019 so that he could start school. Now, in the November 2018, I had an email out of the blue from an old friend of mine who was working in Oman. And it wasn't just sent to me, it was sent to all of his contacts. And it was for a position in Oman. They asked if anybody was interested. So this was like, 5 months before my wife and son were due to go back to the Philippines. And I thought, well, is there any point in me staying in Malaysia? If I could get a job somewhere else, I may as well be somewhere else. And the money was better. It would allow me to save up more money for a house in the Philippines. So that was pre-Oman. And after a telephone interview, a very long telephone interview with my old mate and one of his team, I got the offer. And then it was agreed I would start in January 2019. At the beginning of January 2019, off I went to Oman. I'd never been to Oman before. I couldn't even pinpoint it on a map if you had asked me. I'd been to Dubai, but I'd never been to Oman, so it was a new experience. And when I came in 2019, Oman was or is a modernised country. All the infrastructure is in place. They have many malls. The roads are good. They have a lot of schools. Healthcare is good. So it wasn't always like that. In 2020, January 2020, Sultan Qaboos, who was the ruler of the country, passed away. But he had ruled Oman, or the Sultanate of Oman, as it's officially called, for almost 50 years. He took over in 1970. It was actually a coup d'etat, and he overthrew his father with help from the British. Us British, of course, we're always sticking our nose in. Anyway, when he took over, the country had barely little infrastructure. You know, we're talking about 1970, which isn't that long ago, 54 years ago. And when he took over, he started to develop the country. At that time, can you believe they only had 10 kilometres of paved road in the country? 10 kilometres. Now, this is a country that's the size of England. So incredible what he did between 1970 to his demise in 2020. It's nothing short of incredible. So I was here when he passed, and the country was thrown into 3 days of mourning, which is pretty standard, really. But you know, there was a lot of grief because of the great man. You know, he had dragged Oman into the 21st century. So the people had a lot to thank him for. Also, in 2020, on the 2nd of April, we got sent home from the office because of this crazy virus, COVID-19, of course, that was spreading like wildfire. And the oil price dive bombed, and panic set in. The company were even talking about closing the office. So it was a really worrying time. But what happened in the end was they cut everyone's salary by 20%. So because I was actually working through a third-party contractor, all of us got hit for 20% salary cut. And we were basically told, you can accept this or leave. You know, how could we leave? Where are we going to go? You know, we can't fly anywhere. It was a bit naughty, if you ask me. But what was even worse was we never got that 20% back since 2020, even though the oil price recovered pretty much straight away. We were stuck on a reduced salary since 2020. So a lot of things happened during that time, but the 2.5 years I was stuck here. I couldn't go home. I couldn't go anywhere. So effectively I didn't see my wife and son in the Philippines for 2.5 years. I did manage a trip to the UK after 2 years, but that was because they opened their borders in the Philippines hadn't. So in the beginning, when I first came here, everything was great, you know. And then it went downhill with COVID. And during that time, they introduced sin tax on alcohol, tobacco, energy drinks. And everything started to go downhill. You know, the sin tax was a 100% tax on these items, 100% tax. So, you know, things like doubled in price overnight. Nowadays, if you want to buy a bottle of wine in one of the hotel bars, you're looking at minimum 24 reals. And that's a lot of money, you know, that's what, more than $60. It's crazy. Now you can get it cheaper in the liquor store, but if you go out to one of the bars, you're going to pay through the nose. And also, everybody's mental health was affected. None more so than mine, because I was alone, stuck in the apartment. A lot of the time we couldn't go out, you know, lockdowns and stuff like that. No, I'm not the only one, but I was effectively alone with no family around me. And once COVID started to disappear, everybody's attitudes had changed. A lot of restaurants had closed. People didn't go out anymore. That was the start of the downfall, in my opinion. And now we're here in 2024. My old friend who worked here, he left a while back. He's now in Dubai. So, you know, I've been on my jack basically for a long time, and now things have come to a head, and I'm leaving Oman. So, why am I leaving Oman? Well, to be honest, it was always my intention to retire at the end of this year. But this has been brought forward by a lot of job closures in the company. So what they're now saying is they're reducing all the staff because they don't have the work. So my end date has effectively been brought forward to the end of this month, September 2024. So that's the reason why I'm leaving, not through choice, through the company's choice, not personal choice. So they will have to do without me from now on. And I'm off to the Philippines. I'm going to retire, take early retirement, go to a wee house in the Philippines and enjoy myself. I'm looking forward to it now. I'm excited that I can finally say, you know, this is it. And I hope you guys join me because I'm going to be bringing you a lot more interesting videos than this one. You know, I'll be out and about in the Philippines, going to the market, taking you different places with my videos. So I hope this video wasn't too long. These are the reasons why, or that's the reason why I'm leaving Oman. But I've had a great time here, apart from the pandemic and the setbacks caused by the pandemic. But over the piece, I would say it's been a great time. It's my second longest contract ever. Now, I've been contract since 1989. The longest contract I had was in Malaysia, 7.5 years before here. But this is the second longest one, almost 6 years. I've met a lot of new people, made some great friends, and we'll keep in touch for the rest of time once I go back to the Philippines. Okay, thanks guys for watching, and cheers now, bye.